Hello, folks. Welcome to Just Plain Living. I'm John Gray, and I just wanted you to realize that a lot of the things that they say we can't get, we already have. You know, people are concerned about masks. If this was good enough for John Wayne and Tex Ritter to ride across the West with and keep stuff out of their nose and their mouth, why can't it work for us? It can. Toilet paper. Have any coffee filters at the house? Pretty soft. Work pretty good. Filters the coffee. Might get you clean. And if that doesn't work, remember, there's always a corn crib somewhere in the country with some cobs in it. The red ones are to clean. The white ones are to make sure you cleaned enough. And hand sanitizer, that's another thing. I've got a delivery coming in a little bit later. As soon as it gets here, I'll show you the greatest hand sanitizer that there is. So don't be feared that you can't get your hands clean. I'm going to show you how in a little while when the delivery comes. And what I'm going to do right now, because we're safe and sound in here, I got my man Andrew Todd over here, and he's cleaned up and prepped. Philip's in the back. And we're going to do a show here whether the coronavirus likes it or not, because we've been bringing you folks information for the last 28 years. We're not going to quit now. Just because there's something tough going on out there doesn't mean we're not going to be here for you. We're going to try to have a little fun. We're going to talk about some pertinent things, and we're going to try to entertain you. And we're going to have some music to listen to today. Some good friends will be playing some music, and we'll have a few things to talk to you about. You know, I'm going to get Andrew while we're here, excuse me, to get a close-up on this. This is my perspective. You know, when you're creative, you hunt for things to do. Let's get a close-up on that. That right there is the Titanic floating across the pandemic ocean right there, and was brought down by a storm. And what happened is a lot of the people who jumped off gathered together and in a big old group to help themselves survive by helping one another as a group. And there are the Corona sharks right there just coming in, feeding on them. Man, those sharks love it when people group together. Well, if you notice over to the sides, there are people floating separately on life preservers from the Titanic, and they're floating up to a beautiful beach with a great sunset. There's a campfire up there where the folks who make it are dancing around, knowing that their future is going to be there in a new world that will be here after all of this is over and done, and it will be over and done. So that's my thought the other day. I just thought about that, so I put it down on a piece of cardboard, and that is the pandemic ocean right there. And so I guess the story and the lesson is separately. Together we survive, separately, not in a group. And I think what's happening now is a lot of people are understanding that. You're not seeing as many people in groups. I noticed at the high school when I've gone by there, kids aren't gathered over there like they were before. Parents are understanding that everybody is a victim or could be a victim of this disease. Not everybody will die from it, but everybody could be a victim. And the next couple of weeks are going to be very, very influential on what happens. And the best thing that any of us can do is to stay at home and stay separate and stay clean and pay attention to what you're doing and who you're around. When you go out, you have to go to the grocery store. A lot of these grocery stores will bring your food out to you. A lot of people will deliver you to your car what you need, the food that you need if you're going to buy from your local restaurants. And you know, we see on television a lot, local restaurants, a lot of them won't survive this. These are the people who fed us. Buy from them. Find a way to go to your local restaurant that are still serving food and buy food from them to make sure that your favorite places to eat will still be there when this is all over with. A lot of people are going to be without work, a lot of people without jobs. Be a good neighbor, be a good friend. I hope, and I wrote something here, let's see. Get my toilet paper out of the way. This is something I wrote the other morning that sort of encapsulates this. Will the world change when the coronavirus is collectively defeated? Will months of social isolation from the cultures we created bring us all back to an earth where all living things respect and care for each other and the planet we live on? When it all started, existence was focused on we, not me. Focused on need, not greed. Grounded on love, equally for all those created. My hope and prayer is the new world will find us back there. So maybe when this is all over with, we will be a different type of people. We will continue to care and love one another and put aside worldwide, not just locally, not just politically, but worldwide. This might bring us into a completely new generation of how we treat each other and how we act toward each other. Let's see here. Another day. Give a gift of yourself. Cause a smile. Listen to someone else's load, if just for a little while. Be the solution, not the problem. Listen to what others say. Share advice only when asked. Then be on your way to live and love another day. Another night of strolling through the darkness, searching for a flicker of light, I passed numerous embers beside the path, each waiting for a breath of life that will allow it to ignite, revealing the illumination waiting within. There are many flowers along the way. Which one should I pick and add to my bouquet? Some are right, some are wrong. Some need more attention than others, but would fit beautifully into the arrangement. 'Tis a puzzlement. As always, procrastination becomes the stagnation of creation, so do something. The future and all of its adventures are waiting for a decision. So breathe, exhale, and take the next step. You might make some wrong choices, but the only bad decision is no decision. Life is a game where almost everyone gets to go to the next level if you play halfway fair. So forward, my friend. Do something instead of nothing and see what's next. The embers will not stay hot and the blossomed petals not last forever. As my friend General Bart Burton reminded me, fix the future. The past is, well, it's the past. Understand the command forward. So folks, as we go forward in our social isolation from each other, we will find that future, and we will be friends, and we will love one another, and we will get to take the next step. And it will be exciting to see what each and every one of us does after this is all over with. Let's see what I want to do right now. Let's go to a friend of ours that was in Tullahoma a while back, Darius Wallace, and he did a beautiful thing on South Jackson where he transformed himself into the wind. Let's transform ourselves into a new generation.
My great-grandfather started it in 1900, and now it's 2020, which is 120 years. We still measure your feet, still try to help you find a good fit. We're just a good old-fashioned shoe store where we'll measure your feet, make sure you're in the right size, and help you find a comfortable shoe for men, women, and children.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoes. We're gonna fit your style.
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron and chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game.
The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, folks, Darius is isolated in the control room right now, socially isolated in the control room. We will find him and bring him out in just a little bit. So right now, I will give you commonplaces. I'm exhausted. My life has left me drained. Where will I find the manna to finish the show? Has God forsaken me? In the eyes and smile of a stranger, I find strength and joy. That lifts me above my situation. And I realize God's light shines behind new faces, behind common places. Beyond common places is where we stretch and grow, outside of our comfort zone of all the things we know, to an open mind that brings brand new spaces. God's universe awaits beyond common places. And that's where we are right now, folks, in our world. We are definitely living beyond common places, and we will be stronger and grow when this comes to an end. We will find a new world. We're going to go back to the old world right now. Here's John and Pat. Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
I'm John Rickman, and this is
Pat Welch, and we're here with our sixth segment
of Conversation with John
and
and
Grand
Pat.
Ole Opry is in its 5,000th, whatever. Now, we've got a ways to go, but I don't expect it to...
If we can ever get them to slow down a little bit, we'll catch them.
Yeah, that's right. This song was written by Albert Brumley in 1932, and it's called I'll Fly Away, one of my favorite. Some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away. Just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away to a home where joy shall never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away. song,
That
Pat.
is beautiful, John, and we're in the Easter season now, and they're quite appropriate.
And so, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And
It is.
we're both believers, and that song means a lot to us. And certainly there are things that are very serious about the church. Then there's some things occasionally that come up in churches a little bit on the humorous order.
Correct, and we both believe that we ought to be in church on Sunday, and
Yep.
and are devout attenders of our local churches. But there is humor in Christianity. In fact, we had a discussion before we got started here. I educated at least 2 or 3 of you.
I've forgotten.
There's a story in Mark's Gospel, I think the 15th chapter, when it's talking about Jesus' arrest, and that somebody fled the scene and the tunic fell off and he fled naked. And to me, if Mark intended for that not to have some humor, he wouldn't have put the scene in there, depicted it in that way. And we both have to admit that there's times in church that there is some humor.
Well, you know, Pat, they didn't have an attic outlet or a Good Samaritan program back at that time.
No,
That boy could have got clothes somewhere else. You know, today, I was thinking about Tommy Martin, our friend, and you tell that story real well about our buddy Tommy Martin.
well,
He said we could tell this, by the way.
well, that's perfect. Then with his consent, we'll go on. He attended Marble Plains for a time, Baptist church out by the Timms Ford Park, and the pastor is Brother Jack Heiss, who's also a great man.
Great man.
And we've been friends a long time with him. And Marble Plains built a fellowship hall back when I was at the Builder Supply, and we gave them some advice and helped them with some prices and so forth. And they were so kind that when they dedicated that at a church service on Sunday, that they invited me. So I went to my church early in the morning, then went to their church later in the morning. And it was an incredible service. It was jam-packed. And Tommy was off to the side in a wing running all the lights and the audio. And Jack got in the pulpit to preach right after some incredible music by somebody that they brought in, a young lady. And he first got in the pulpit, he said, wow, he said, all this special music today, and especially that last song, he said, how in the world am I going to follow that? And Tommy hollered back from the side, he said, with a short sermon! And that brought the crowd down.
Tommy Martin, he is wild. He is something. Judy says he wakes up that way. It's just he's that way all the time.
Hits
He's
the floor
wound up.
there.
Yes,
That's right.
That's right. But Tommy is a lot like other people. I remember when I first came to Grace Baptist Church years ago, it was almost considered out in the country. And Jewel Pruitt, who was a pastor at that time, he was from Louisville, and he had run track there. I'm not sure. He looked more like a shot putter. But Jewel and I got out in front of the church one day at a special fellowship day or whatever. I don't know. I was in my 20s, and he was in his 20s too. And we started at one telephone pole, and we were going to have a race to another telephone pole. Here I was, a coach over at East Junior High School, and Jewel, a former track man, and we ran hard as we could.
Kind of like that Greek god that we saw in that picture last week.
we ran as hard as we could, and we wound up tying. So it didn't hurt either one of our feelings so bad, you know. But that was a fun thing to do back that time, and just shows you how youthful you are and how many times in the church life that you do things such as that. We have fellowships and things like that.
I'll tell you another cute church story that you've told me a couple of times is when Coach Osteen, who coached in Tullahoma baseball and football, I believe. He was a head baseball and assistant football in the early 60s. Then he went to Franklin County for a short term and came back as an administrator. He's principal at East. And they brought him. He'd had some extra work, or maybe his master's thesis was on middle schools.
Yes.
And we were going to go from junior high system where you had the freshmen with the 7th and 8th graders. We were going to move the 9th graders to the high school and have middle schools. And so that he was brought to Tullahoma to help usher that period in. But now he was a good church person, but when you ask him where he sat, he said he wanted to sit in the back. And if you cued into why are you a little bit bashful? And he said, no, I'm not bashful at all. He said, I like to hear some real strong preaching where a lot of conviction and some conscience gets bothered. And he said, and the preacher's doing a real good job. If you sit in the back, you can see the back of their ears turning red.
Mr. Osteen was something.
He was something
You know, his
else.
boys, we're about through here, but his boys never missed a day of school. He had 3 sons, and all of them went every single day. I'm sure they were sick sometimes when they should have been there, when they should have been home maybe, but they never missed any school. He was he believed in making them work and making them be prompt.
Mr. Osteen was a heck of a guy. He was a little bit short, but he was stout, and he ran a tight ship. And we may be able to talk about that a little bit in one of our
At
next
another
segments.
time.
How he
And
ran that tight ship.
We've sure enjoyed ourselves, though.
Yeah. All right, John, that probably just wraps. This was segment 6.
Well, I'm losing count. Go ahead, Pat.
I believe it's segment 6, and that's not the end of the conversations, as long as management says we can continue.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat. Oh, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the paint. Uh-oh. I just knocked a tree over. This is the paint doctor. I got the color wheel. Now, you know what a color wheel is? It is the wheel at the paint works where you pick all your colors to paint your room. It could be a multicolored beard. It could be a underarm fan. You never can tell. One thing we do know is that it's time to paint. You know, you can make your wife very happy if you go to your house and paint some rooms, or you paint the outside of the house, the inside of the house. It makes them feel very good because you work hard for them and they like that. All women like to see their man sweat, you know? They do. Honeydew is what they do. And you get to do it too. So you go to the paint works at 1960 North Washington Street and you see David Heikkinen over there, and he's the real paint doctor. He fix you up with color. It's so nice when the color is right. Go to Paintworks today. Martin Senor. See? Martin Senor. Right there. Martin Senor at the Paintworks. Bye, and we see you next time. I'm burning up.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
right, ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to take you to Darius Wallace at South Jackson Civic Center with a very, very uplifting piece called The Wind.
I am the wind, says the eagle within. I am the wind that wrestles the air grown thin. I am the strength you found my weakness in. But in my weakness then I find my blessings begin. Suffering is the daughter of struggle. Struggle is the grandmother of success, he said. Success is the man-child of miracles, crucified by jealousy, the closest friend. Resurrection is overcoming hatred. Hatred is the uncle of revenge. Revenge is converted by love. Love makes broken hearts mend. Mended hearts bring truth. Truth is the root that makes the tallest tree ascend. These trees create the oxygen that makes me again the wind. I am the wind, says the eagle within. I am the wind that wrestles the air grown thin. I am the strength you found my weakness in, but in my weakness then I find my blessings begin. I am the wind that brings victory to those who succeed at failing. I am the rudder that directs the warships that must go sailing. I journey the motion of life where the track of the train be derailing. I ride the naked road still to reach the town in my wailing. Though the tears sweat out rain, evaporated my solar pain, and the stain is left by the blood, and the blood reaches the brain, and sacrifices are performed to thoughts. And thought is where my power remains. My thought emails ideas to action, and action is when I am the wind again. I am the wind, says the eagle within. I am the wind that wrestles the air grown thin. I am the strength you found my weakness in, but in my weakness then I find my blessings begin. I am the wind in the moments when you think you might lose. I am the pearl of wisdom found by the simplest fool. I walk with fallen angels and dine with them over booze. And fallen angels are former demons, and demons are the diamonds we did not choose. And choice is the voice that shouts from the suntop, that reaches the real till you feel the truth chop. And shake and shame and name the lies stop, to feel the stitch, to feel the stitch when the lies stop. But cannot stop these wings. My heart, these wings that soar across the sky, these wings, I am the breath beneath the butterfly, these wings, this grace that glides along the wind, these wings that make rejected stones ascend, these wings, fresh faith, I was the doubting door, I am no more, but am that stone that with the Christ Christine angels adore, these wings, you hear the sound that sings and rings, the bells beneath waving strings, baptized in crystal fire, never again to live beneath the higher life, letting loose like lightning, looking lethal, luring little leaves, lubricating blood letters launched from the Lord. Triple darkness overcome, but not the sun. He be the righteous one. His rock cannot be moved. He is the King of glory. His name, my friend, I am that I am, therefore I am the wind. I am the wind, says the eagle within. I am the wind that wrestles the air grown thin. I am the strength you found my weakness in. But in my weakness then I find my blessings begin.
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family, caring for your family since 1932.
If you want to be a parent, It doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, folks, we're back, and we have a friend, Scott Pallett, who lived over in Shelbyville for a long time and played music around here. He and Bobby Bryant, and he is a very, very talented man. Scott comes back and forth up to Bell Buckle from time to time and plays, and at Daddy Billy's, and he's just an incredibly talented fella. And he sent a couple of things up. Jerry Harris is a buddy of his too. He sent something up to Jerry, and we're gonna show what Scott's doing while he is socially isolated. He's never socially isolated as long as he has a guitar in his hands. Here's Scott Pallett.
Okay, I'm back for another installment, and this is a song for Tracy. It reminds me goes way back for me. This is back. Bobby and I had finished playing at the filling station, and we went late night to the 5% Solution, and I had never heard of Little Feat, and we went to see a group called Truck Stop. It was an after-hours kind of club, and I got religion. It was amazing, and later, after that night, I went out and I got everything Littlefoot did, and I thought that Truck Stop wrote all those songs and did them, and then found out it was Little Feat, and so I got a bunch of their stuff, and I wasn't disappointed at all, but I still, to this day, think Truck Stop did it better. But anyway, this is a song Leon used to do, and I know he's looking down on us and probably doesn't care if I take a shot at it. Been walked by the rain, driven by the snow, drunk and dirty, and don't let you know I'm still willing. I was out on the road late last night, saw my pretty Alice, every headlight Dallas, and I've been from Tucson to come Gary, to Hatchbeat, torn apart, driven every kind of rig that's ever been made, driven on the back roads so I wouldn't get away. And if you give me and wild. You show me a sign, I'll be willing to keep on moving. I've been kicked by the wind, robbed by the sleep, had my head stove in. I'm still on my feet, but I'm still with you. Now I smuggle some smokes for folks in Mexico, baked by the sun every time I go to Mexico. Oh, but I'm still. I've been from Tucson to Conquer, to Tehachapi to Tonopah, giving every kind of rig that's ever been made. Driven on the back road so I wouldn't get away. And if you give me whites and white, show me a sign, then I'll be willing to keep on moving. Yes, I'll be willing to keep on moving. Thank you, guys. Well, it's Monday. Hopefully everybody's hanging tight. I've got a couple of guests in the garage this afternoon or this morning. And as you can see, it's the most interesting man over here, Betty Boop. And in the background there is Marissa Miller on the V-Rod. Try something new. Well, you don't need no fancy tricks, painted eyes or glossy lips. I love you just the way you are. Hope you don't mind my beat up car. And you don't have to change your dress, don't have to change your shoes. Don't try to hide your natural looks. Forget about the cover, let me read the book. Don't get me wrong, I like those heels, but the way I feel is the way I feel. And you don't have to change your dress, don't have to change your shoes. Just go ahead, be wild and free. You don't have to shave your legs for me. Now, honey, babe, don't starve yourself. Looking good, you're looking good. And I'm proud to have you by my side. Glad to have you in my life. And you don't have to clean my house, don't have to wash my clothes. Oh, just go ahead, be wild and free. You don't have to shave your legs for me. Cause you're an angel. Yes, you're an angel. Don't have to read those magazines, already know how to get to me. yourself and I will too. It's all we really have to do. And you don't have to be ashamed, don't have to hide your need. Just go ahead, be wild and free. You don't have to shave your legs for me. Oh, go ahead, be wild and free. You don't have to shave your legs for me. One more. Good day. Well, this will be an evening take two. This corona thing is, I think, gonna get worse before it gets better. We had a musical friend of ours, all of ours, get critically ill today with it, Mr. John Prine, and so I'll do this song for him. Come home late, come home early. Come home big when you're feeling small. Come on straight, come on curly. Sometimes you don't come home at all. What in the world has come over you? What in heaven's name have you done? Broken the speed of sound of loneliness. You're out there running just to be on the run. Well, I got a heart burns with a fever. I got a worried and jealous mind. How can love last forever? Get left so far behind. So what in the world has come over you? What in heaven's name have you done? Broken the speed, the sound of loneliness. Out there running just to be on the run. I got a mean, dreadful sorrow. Cross the evil line today. And how can you ever ask about tomorrow when we ain't got one word to say? What in the world has come over you? What in heaven's name have you done? Broken the speed of sound of loneliness. You're out there running just to be on the run. Out there running just to be on the run. You're out there running just to be on the run.
Partners for Healing provides medical care to the working uninsured of Coffee, Franklin, and Moore counties. We are in Tullahoma from 8 to 5, Monday through Thursdays, and in Manchester on Fridays from 8 to 12. We provide primary medical care and offer an in-house disease management program.
My name is Rosie Mitchell, and I would just like to say I am blessed to have partners in my life.
Please call 455-5014 for more information. Thank you for being one of our Partners for Healing.
Hello, this is Janie Price. When my husband Ray Price would tour across the country, his favorite place to dine was Cracker Barrel Old Country Store locations. His favorite thing to order was the Uncle Herschel.
And the beauty of it all is forever, you'll be holding me to.
I miss Ray dearly, and I'm so proud that his last album, Beauty Is the Final Session, is available at his favorite restaurant.
A love affair to remember.
The project includes a duet with Martina McBride and harmony vocals from Vince Gill. Ray believed this to be the best recording he had ever made.
Oh, I wish I was 18 again.
I think you'll agree when you pick up your copy of Beauty Is the Final Sessions at a Cracker Barrel Old Country Store location near you or at crackerbarrel.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and we've talked about all the things that are going on, social distancing, and we played some music and had a few things to share with you. But one thing we don't need to forget is this is Holy Week, and it's really, really strange. I was riding through town the other day. I had to go make a delivery, and there were people in the yard in lawn chairs separated from each other with palm leaves, waving them at the traffic going by. We've all figured out and will continue to figure out a way to show care and concern for each other. Of course, Ash Wednesday's tomorrow night, and then Maundy Thursday. And a couple of years ago, I wrote a piece called Two Pieces of Wood, and it's about the cross, looking at the crucifixion from the cross's point of view. And I realized that was just in the middle of the story, so I wrote some more pieces to go with it, and it's called the Easter Omnibus. I'm going to read a couple of pieces today that are relevant to this week. And the first one is called Of Burrow and Boughs. Lord Jesus journeyed toward Jerusalem. The time for his sacrifice had come. He humbly marched to no welfare or drum, no fanfare or drum. The burden he bore left his body numb. So weary from travel he could hardly go, he sent to Bethpage for a young burro. Christ crawled on its back, then slowly went on, and the word of his coming spread like the dawn. When he reached the city, a crowd lined the streets, waving palm branches, throwing boughs at his feet. They searched for a Messiah to save them from Rome, but he was the path to their heavenly home. Triumphant he entered as the animal trod. Triumphant he ascended at the right hand of God. Of burrow and boughs I spin this tale about a heavenly gift that followed a trail set forth by the Father whose will would be done to secure our salvation through his only Son, who came to Jerusalem to make good God's vow, riding a burro on a carpet of boughs. Two pieces of wood. There was a man, a mystical man, who traveled an ancient land, and all he passed were altered by his words and the touch of his hand. The fishes he fed, the loaves of bread, the water turned into wine. On a mount he talked, on the water he walked, gave sight to the blind. All who saw believed, but few really understood, until the world was changed forever by two pieces of wood. Two pieces of wood from the last straight dogwood tree made a cross that held the Son of God on the skull of Calvary, a Savior who shouldered the sin of mankind, the essence of all things good, the Holy Trinity there for all to see, nailed to two pieces of wood. As a child he taught the elders, the man soothed a whore at the well. Tax collectors fled before him, the children loved the stories he'd tell. But Rome saw him a threat, so told Pilate he had a choice. Put the prophet in his place, or see all you hold dear destroyed. So he was tortured and put on a cross with a thief on each side. And when the crowd chose Barabbas, the Christ was crucified. On two pieces of wood from the last straight dogwood tree, a cross that held the Son of God on the skull of Calvary. A Savior who shouldered the sin of mankind, the essence of all things good. The Holy Trinity there for all to see, nailed to two pieces of wood. And the world was changed forever because of two pieces of wood. The sound of salvation. There were many sounds on the road to Calvary. The rustle of palm leaves beneath his sandal feet. The sounds of betrayal uttered at Gethsemane. The cheers of the crowd when they set Barabbas free. The sound of sobs and weeping from those who lined the street as the weight of the cross he bore drove him to his knees. The sound of the hammer as they nailed him to the cross. The sound as he begged forgiveness for all those that were lost. The sound of the storm sent to end this deed. The sounds of fear and desperation's pleas. The sound of loved ones' whispers as they walked him to the tomb. And the Christ they loved and worshiped was sealed in a room. Between the sounds of prayers and tears, his voice found its way in. Above the grief and horror and sorrow, they heard his words, I will rise again. So they went to the tomb on the third day and heard the sound of salvation in the silence of emptiness when the stone was rolled away. I know it's a different time, a different Holy Week for all of us, a different Easter. Spend time thinking about the truth of what it's all about and the great gift that was given to us all through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ on the cross. We'll be right back after these messages.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of two jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment.
He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching.
That's right. No employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, no, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Good morning, all you fine folks in TV land, and thank you, John, for that introduction. Good morning, Dot, and good morning, camera ladies. Good to see y'all fit and ready to roll this morning. You know, Tullahoma is a great, great place to live and work and have fun. And I mentioned work. One of the things that I'd like to share with you this morning is about some of our industries, the early industries. And in just a few moments, why we can't cover them all, but we're going to touch on one or two of the early ones. For example, one of the earliest industries in Tullahoma, it's sad to say, is not in operation now. I think it ceased operations a year or two ago, but a place called the Klondike. Now, old-timers know where the Klondike is and what they did, but for the people that like to know the background of industries and work in Tullahoma, it was the Camel and Dan Lumber Company between North Atlantic and North Washington Street. It backs up to the railroad in front of Clyde Smith's Wholesale, and the Empire Gas Company is across the railroad from it. That long, long tin building that you see there, and it had a big steam plant there that operated all the big machinery there. And the first products of the Camel and Dan, and by the way, Mr. M.R. Camel Sr. was one of the founders of Tullahoma and the industrial park here, or part of course that wasn't a park, but big industrial plant that hired several hundred people that worked there and made a contribution to Tullahoma. And the first products there were wagon wheels and wagon spokes and wagon rims that made it possible for the buggy manufacturing company to operate and have those fine products to make their vehicles and their buggies. And later, when automobiles made the wooden framework for them at that time, and as time went on, they made hardwood flooring from oak and other types of wood. A lot of oak in this area. A lot of oak came down from the Sparta and McMinnville area to the Klondike, where they made hardwood flooring, and that was a big industry. They had a big kiln out there where they cured the lumber and the wood for their products. Later they made chairs and parts for chairs, and even sent bulk wood to the furniture industry in High Point and other places in North Carolina. But it's a big, big industry here. And there's plastics and metals came on, and computerized machinery began to be used. And then Cameron Dam began to cease operations and slow down. Well, that was one of the big, big industries in Tullahoma. Then one of the industries that came here pre-World War I was the Lanham Manufacturing Company, which is today Worth Sports, that was located on West Lincoln Street, just this side of the Rock Creek Bridge there on the left. And the picture that I hold in my hand is a picture that was made in 1933 of Mr. Graw and Tut Parham and the Hydes and the Racklers and all of those fine people that operated the tannery there. It was a tannery first. They brought hides in from South America and all over the United States, horse hides and cow hides, where they would tan them and shave all the hair and wool off those hides and cut them and let them cure. Then they cut out baseball and softball covers, and that was the Lanham Tannery there. In 1934, they rebuilt and have a 3 or 4 story brick building there, and they modernized. And the ladies that sewed the covers on the ball were on the top floor. The tannery part was on the bottom floor. And I mentioned a week or 2 ago about the elevators. I think this building had the second elevator in Middle Tennessee. It was a freight elevator. But other early industries was Tennessee Overall Company and the 400 block of North Atlantic Street that employed many, many people. They made bib overalls and overall jumpers for a long, long time. And then during World War II, they made uniforms for the armed forces. And one final little story about the Klondike was that they operated with a big steam boiler out there, and with coal and mainly scrap wood. And the man that operated the boiler out there had a watch, and they blew the whistle, and we missed that whistle. He blew a whistle at 6:30 every morning for everybody to get up, at 7 o'clock to go to work, at 12:30 a break for lunch, and blew the whistle at 3:30 for the end of the work day. And then he set his watch by going by Mr. Book's jewelry store and looking in the window to see what time it was, and he set his watch. Well, he blew his whistle by his watch. Several years later, the whistleblower and Mr. Book met, and Mr. Book said, "I sure am glad to meet you, because I set my watch in the window by hearing the whistle blow out of the Klondike." And so they got to be good friends and never were off very far. And I'm going to tell you some more about the industry as time goes on, so you be sure and be listening, and y'all have a nice day.
My great-grandfather started it in 1900, And now it's 2020, which is 120 years. We still measure your feet, still try to help you find a good fit. We're just a good old-fashioned shoe store where we'll measure your feet, make sure you're in the right size, and help you find a comfortable shoe for men, women, and children.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoes. We're gonna fit your style.
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron and chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game.
The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I told you earlier in the show, 3 things that everybody's worried about was a mask. Here's your mask. All you need is a piece of cloth. Take a bed sheet, tear it up, pillowcase. You need toilet paper. Everybody's got coffee filters. And I just had a delivery of hand sanitizer, the best there is, and that is a bar soap. Soap, ladies and gentlemen, is the best hand sanitizer there is. And now my delivery person is sitting over here, and she's got her mask on. And all you need is a scarf, girls, and put it on. Wrap it around your face, and that's better than having nothing. So my beautiful bride, Fran's here, Fran Gray with Alzheimer's Tennessee, and she's going to give a report on some of the things that are going on that she's found out about as I drop my hand sanitizer in the floor. But that's all right. That bottle won't break. It's in a cardboard box. So, hi, dear. How are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
It's
What's
good to
going
be
on?
here. Well, we are very, very busy. Alzheimer's Tennessee is working to help take care of folks who are affected by Alzheimer's and other related dementias. We have of course, encouraged everyone to stay home, to stay separate as much as possible. And we want to emphasize that we're available by phone if someone needs to talk with us, if they need information, or if they just need some encouragement, to please call us at 931-434-2348. Also, we have a 24/7 open line, and you can call 1-800-ALTS-GATE because we are the gateway to services. So that's 1-800-ALZ-GATE. And we encourage people to call that number. They may wake up in the night and feel anxious about something, and they can call that number. And once our main line discovers where the call is originating, they will refer the person back to the respective region.
Right.
Because we have offices all over Tennessee, and we want to serve the best we can, especially during this challenging time of COVID-19. So again, we are asking people to be safe, to take care of themselves. Some of the families we serve may already feel isolated, so perhaps this time is not a whole lot different from other times. We still want to emphasize that care partners need to take care of themselves first. You are not able to care for your loved one if you are not well yourself. We have worked to find resources available in the event that the care partner becomes ill, maybe even has to be hospitalized. We have resources we can refer you to for help with your person who has dementia. So if you call anywhere in our service area across the state, we hopefully will be able to come up with a solution for your problem, or at least give you some really good, look at there. We have our website there on the screen, altstennessee.org. And you can go there. You can find the numbers for all of our regions. You can also find some wonderful videos. I've mentioned these before, but I want to emphasize that if you need help with a certain area of life, you can most likely find it in our Caregiver Academy. So if you go to our website and you click on Help, you can find these videos. We have a broad assortment of 3 to 5 minute videos which will give you very helpful information on topics from legal issues all the way to getting your loved one bathed. So avail yourself to those. And also we have a new set of videos starting, and that's our Live Well Academy. Those are designed for persons who have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or another kind of dementia. So we are happy to introduce those. We have, I think, about 3 or 4 now on our website. They are produced and performed, I shouldn't say performed, the person's making the videos, or let me start over on that. The persons who are giving the information do have a diagnosis themselves. So I would ask you to keep that in mind, and if you have received a diagnosis of some form of dementia, look at our Live Well Academy. You will find good, helpful videos there. And for you care partners, the Caregiver Academy. I'm sorry, I'm a little slow on that this morning.
It's all right.
So
there's a lot of information, and
yes.
That's the one thing about Alzheimer's Tennessee that sets it apart is there is local contact and local information, and someone to, like Fran, in the different offices to explain that to you. And just like the other night, although we're social distancing ourselves, Fran had a phone conversation with a lady, and because of that phone conversation, was able to drive over to Winchester and deliver some information that helped this family during a very stressful and new time for them. Mm-hmm. And you know, that's a service you don't get just from everybody, but you get that service from Alzheimer's Tennessee.
Well, it is our honor to care for people and to try to encourage them. We want people to remember that they're not alone on this journey, and we want to help them in the ways that we can and remain safe ourselves. Our office is located in Tullahoma at 207 North Jackson. We have added a box this week to our front porch. There's a nice box set beside our door, and it says donations here. And we would encourage anyone who might have extra gloves or masks to leave them there so we can get them to healthcare providers who may need them. There may be other folks who need them. They might even be caring for loved ones in their home,
right,
who might be in hospice care or having home health. So in speaking with different providers, I think most everybody is well supplied right now, but there's no way to know how this manifestation of COVID-19 will happen in our community and surrounding towns.
Right.
So we need to be as prepared as possible. On our website also, you will find patterns. If you'd like to sew, I wish I could sew, but I'm not a seamstress, as you well know. I would encourage you to go to our website, and you will find 2 different patterns, so you could make some masks there at home. And now that we're all being encouraged to wear some kind of protection when we go out, you might even be able to make a mask for yourself. And I think everyone's finding ways to be more creative right now. Like John and his bandana. There are people who are using rubber bands to put on their masks and over their ears. So let's use this time. If you find yourself kind of separated from others and time on your hands, you might just make this a good opportunity to reminisce with your loved one. Most people who are having some memory issues can still recall stories from their childhood or earlier days. I can't help but think of stories I've heard about how our country came together during World War II and during the Great Depression, and how people helped each other out. They shared their rations, they shared everything. They grew victory gardens, they rolled bandages. And there are so many similarities in our culture right now as people are trying to help each other. So I would just encourage you to talk to your loved ones, reminisce about the earlier days and how people enjoyed being together, how they would play games together. They would sit out on their front porch and visit. So you can sit on somebody's porch, just keep that 6-foot distance if you
That's
can.
right.
So a lot of the ways that we call from the old days are still wonderful and they're healthy. Perhaps you're even getting more rest right now. So I would encourage you also, if you have pretty well saturated yourself with the news, you may go to bed worrying about things. If that's the last thing you see at night or the first thing you see in the morning, why don't you turn your television off for a few hours and avoid the news for a bit? If there's something real key, I'm sure they will announce it many times.
Well,
so turn off your news of the COVID virus and think of things that are more pleasant. Tell jokes, make up stories. You could even do your own little play if you wanted to. Sing to each other, paint. John is very creative, and he's been drawing and painting and coloring, and I just think it's a wonderful opportunity to be creative and get your mind off the worrisome thoughts of the day.
One thing you need to realize is, although you're socially separated, the COVID virus is not waiting outside your front door for you. You can go in your yard in the beautiful sunshine and pick flowers, pick up sticks. You can. There's all kinds of people that are walking and riding bicycles, doing things that they probably hadn't done in years, because there's an opportunity now to breathe in spring and take advantage of spring. And before we end this segment, Fran had a great idea about spring. Tell them what we want them to do.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I am going to be reading a wonderful story called When Springtime Comes in the next week or so. It was written by Isla Pascal Richardson, one of our Tullahoma citizens. She wrote it many years ago. It's the sweetest story about springtime. And we would invite you all and encourage you to take pictures of your favorite sightings of springtime, whether it's a brief video of some birds. I hear about little birds nesting and even little birds being born now and coming out. So get a video, a short video, or a photograph of some of your favorite spring flowers and send them to John, and we will show them while I read When Springtime Comes. John's email address is John Gray.
H-less John.
Yes, Jon Gray at pheadtv.com. Again,
thanks, dear.
You're welcome. So we look forward to see what you're seeing out there in your yard or on your trail of life. And
don't forget your mask.
Yeah, that's right. If you go out, be very careful, but enjoy the springtime and send those pictures or brief videos to us, and we will play them as I read When Springtime Comes.
All right.
If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call Alzheimer's Tennessee, and we will do our best to help you. Have a good day.
We'll be right back.
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family caring for your family since 1932.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and we've got just a minute left. And what we're going to do is show you a video of our son, my son Jacob, doing strut at South Jackson Civic Center, and that's what we all need to do right now. When you crawl up out of that rut, just strut. We'll see you next week.
Hey, let's go to strut school. This next song is one my dad wrote for me and some other people. We got to keep your head high and strut through all the tough stuff in life. So get me going. The good old days seem to have left the past has vanished from my step. This life is crazy. If I got lazy, oh, I'm tired of looking up. The things the harder I work, the further I fall. Well, I found the secret to it all. You want things to stop, you get back on top no matter what. You gotta strut. Yeah, strut. Like Neil Armstrong first step on the moon, strut. Like you walking your bride down the island dune, strut. Like you're on top of your game, and everyone that you met knows your name no matter what. Oh, you gotta strut. Hey, there's a little miss down on your luck with no place left to pass the buck. Sun still shining, mountains deep climbing. You're still breathing and won't touch. The past is past, so what the heck? It's all about the image that you project. You gotta be unique when you hit the street, no matter what. You gotta strut. Yeah, strut. Like you don't have a single hair, strut. Like a red brigade, down your hair, strut. Like your life's not a mess, and you No matter